They were called Nos Amours, and for 3 decades, Montrealers had a love affair with baseball. In the early years, the Expos packed Jarry Park and then the Olympic Stadium. There were some remarkable highs, but in recent years, far more lows. The past decade saw the Expos sold, bought, and sold again. Each season brought speculation it would be the last. Tonight, the confirmation. The Expos will move to Washington, D.C., and the final game for the hometown crowd.
On their feet here tonight to cheer on the Expos for one last time.
More than 31,000 tickets were sold for the game. Most of them, though, not until today. Many of the fans came sporting signs, a final message to the players, and even to a favorite mascot. So, why did the team fail in Montreal? It seems there are as many answers as there are fans. But one thing all can agree on, today's news was no surprise. The CBC's Michel Godbout now on the Expos' long goodbye.
It looks like a full house, but don't be fooled. This kind of turnout is rare for Montreal Expos games, especially in the last few years.
83 was the last time, I think, at a game.
It's always empty, that's why.
Therein lies part of the problem, a loss of fan interest, ultimately leading to the team's departure.
It's a day where the sun sets in Montreal, and I guess a day where the sun rises in Washington.
And I'm thrilled as mayor of this city that the American game is rounding third and heading for home right here to Washington, D.C., our nation's capital.
It's the end to a bittersweet love story. The year is 1969. The Expos are born, the start of a passionate love affair, fans packing the stands of old Jarry Park Stadium. By the late 70s, the team was a true pennant contender. In 1981, they were one game away from the World Series when this happened.
Ball is out of here, and a home run for Rick.
A home run by Rick Monday, eliminating the Expos' only shot at winning a championship in their 35-year history. They might have made it in 1994. They were the league's best team, but a lockout put an end to that. Shortly after, the owners sold off their best players because they were too expensive to keep. That eroded fan loyalty, and the love affair fizzled out. But even in the Expos' heyday, reporter Josh Freed says the Expos were cursed by their stadium.
Well, the Expos were murdered by the Olympic Stadium. It was a homicide. You know, you had a good team in a small little stadium at Jarry Park, and then the dream of the Olympics came in, and we had to move to this awful, cavernous, ghastly sort of a tomb.
But for unconditional fans like Albert Saragosi, the stadium isn't the problem. Major League Baseball is.
I think it was totally mismanaged by Major League Baseball.
Whatever the reason may be, in the U.S. capital, Canada's loss is their gain.
Finally, thanks to Canada, thank you, Canada, we have a baseball team here in Washington, and I'll be rooting for them.
To add insult to injury, the Montreal Expos just lost the last game they played in Montreal by the score of 9-1 to the Florida Marlins. Really a bitter end to the team that brought Major League Baseball to Canada. Mark?
The final insult. Thanks, Michel. The CBC's Michel Godbout in Montreal.